All right, looks like we are good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, September 16th. It is 6:23 right now. We got market opening up in about 7 minutes. Just changing my charts back to the continuous contract. I think we're back on track. So let's see, 46,203. See, the price is the same. Yep, we are good. So I'm back on the continuous contract. It's caught up. So, all right, guys, looks like we are ready to kick off this trading day. Again, today is Tuesday, September 16th. It is 6:23 right now. First thing I'm going to do is mark up liquidity. So let's start off on the daily time frame. The trading view is a little laggy today. Might be my internet connection, but I'll see. So it looks like price is, I mean, sort of starting to pull back a little bit, sort of. Very minimal pullback, but I think price might continue to get pumped up until maybe tomorrow with the interest rate cuts. So if you guys are not familiar with this week, this is Fed week. Interest rate cuts are supposed to happen tomorrow, Wednesday, which is going to be the FOMC day. Everybody's expecting it, right? I don't think there's going to be any way that there's not going to be a cut tomorrow. Um, but we'll see what happens here. But price has pretty much been pushing up pretty heavily for the past I'd say maybe a week or two now. And it hasn't been good for my swing positions because I'm not able to get in. I'll show you guys my swing positions in a little bit. I'm probably going to have to make some adjustments because for certain assets like NQ, it's way too far up. And there's like no way it's going to get filled at where it's currently at right now. So I'm probably going to have to drop down my entry a little bit or push it up a little bit for NQ, maybe for ES. I think the Dow is kind of okay because it is pulling back already, but for the other assets, it is, it's pretty far up. So let's see. It's like we're good here with liquidity on the 15 going down to the 10, going down to the 1. All right, little choppy candles here, but not horrible. ATR is currently at 7, so it's a little slow right now, but it'll probably pick up as market opens up. So, all right, looks like we're good to go. So, good morning, everybody. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. Some people are still joining in. So, today is Tuesday, September 16th, 6:25 right now. We got market opening up in about 5 minutes. So, let's see who's here so far. Morning, Singh. Morning, Daniel. Morning, David. Morning, Lila. Morning, everybody. So great news, guys. I passed the Series 3 exam yesterday. It was a really tough test. It was a lot harder than I was expecting, to be honest. It was a lot of math questions, and I'm horrible at math, but thankfully, I did pass it. So here's I just checked it this morning. Here's from FINRA, my exam from yesterday. I took the Series 3, which is the National Commodity Futures Examination, passed it yesterday on the 15th. So I've put in my application for the NFA. It looks like yeah, I'm just waiting for them to get back to me so that I can continue my application. And after I approve my application, I pretty much registered my company and myself as a professional trader in the futures market. What that entails is, basically, whenever you see people trading online or in general, people usually have to give a disclaimer that, this is not professional advice. For me, I am a professional trader, so I can give professional advice. So a lot of people have to give that disclaimer where they're like, oh, this is, my opinion or whatever, and this is how I'm analyzing the chart, but don't take this as trading advice, right? For me, I can say that this is trading advice and I could charge people for my advice because I'm considered, quote unquote, a professional trader now because I have passed the exam and I have the track record to back it up that I know what I'm doing. So hopefully that'll be done within the next couple weeks, or by next month for sure, and then I'll have the hedge fund back up and running for you guys. Yeah, the test was tough, guys. I mean, if you guys haven't taken a test like that, it's pretty tough because it's very specific to futures. I had to know like pretty much all of the future strategies with regard to options, spreads, hedging, etc. A lot of math, understanding bonds, and just understanding like a lot of different things that you typically wouldn't need to know. Like it's not about understanding how to read the chart, but it's really like the mechanics of futures trading. So excited that that's out of the way so that we can focus back on trading, and we'll kind of see where this takes us. So it is. It's a big step forward for us here. My main focus is really going to be the hedge fund now, so I'm not really going to be teaching as much. I mean, I already stopped teaching for a while, but the main focus is really going to be, mainly on the hedge fund now because my expenses are going to go up a lot because I have to pay a lot more in fees and stuff like that. So I got to make more money from trading and from managing accounts and running the hedge fund versus teaching because teaching you make some money, but you make a lot more money from actual trading if you can scale from there. So, all right, guys, market is about to open in about a minute. Direction of the breakout today is going to be a buy if you're looking for the momentum breakout. So I'll be marking it up for you guys here as market opens up shortly. So if you're looking to take the momentum breakout, it is going to be a buy. The main problem with this here with the breakout is that if you get a big candle here prior, it is going to be it's going to be tricky because there might be a retracement. See right here, price is starting to retrace back a little hard. We got market opening up in about 50 seconds. Let me go and mark up structure real quick. So we have some resistance, which is push this up a little higher. All right, got some resistance up here. You guys can't see it on my chart, but on my other chart over here, I have the higher time frames with the resistance identified. So we got price pushing up, guys. Again, if you're looking to take the momentum breakout, it's going to be a buy today. You might want to be careful because it's been pushing up so high right now that it might have to be due for some retracement. All right, so we got resistance up there. We got support down here. Okay, big spike right there on open. Huge, huge spike right there. Looks like the breakout already hit. So if you guys take the breakout right there, or it's still running actually. Huge, huge spike to the upside right there for the breakout. Like I said, be careful for the fake out. So right here, price spiked up and it's faking out right back below. Pretty much grabbed liquidity all up here. It knocked out the liquidity from here and it rejected directly off the resistance. So I had this resistance marked up here pre-market. So we already had that identified. Price came up, pretty much came up and swept off this area. And it is continuing to push up there. So there goes the momentum breakout, which is pushing to the upside. I'll be looking for a possible orb here as price continues to, move along, of course. My overall bias right now is very bullish, though, as you guys can see. My overall market structure right here, if you see down below, it is currently bullish across the board. It's bullish on the 1 minute, bullish on the 5 minute, 15, 30, and 1 hour, and 4 hour actually. 30 minute is neutral, but it's flipping back to bullish. So here goes a momentum breakout, still pushing in profit, almost on its way to full TP. If you guys want to move your stop loss in profit, highly recommend you guys do so. Guaranteed right there, profit. So full TP on the breakout for 50 points straight to full TP. I did exactly what we anticipated. The price over here kind of pulled back a little bit for the fake out, swung all the way back up in the direction of our overall bias. We are still looking for some bias here, but the market is moving kind of crazy. So if you guys want to take some bias here, I'd probably wait for the market to stabilize a little bit. We do have direction of overall bias, which is bullish. Direction of overall trend here, which is also bullish. You can see on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. Over here on the higher time frame, same thing. Looking at the 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. So with that said, momentum breakout over here already hit full TP for 50 points. We're now looking for the possible orb over here as price continues to move along. I'm not really looking for sells here. So if the orb comes up for a sell, probably not going to take it. If you guys do want to take it, I will mark it up for you. So the orb sell is going to be right here at 46,237. Um, Prices in between. If you want to take the orb sell, look for price break and close below the orb low right here at 46,293. For me personally, I'm looking for a buy. So I'm looking for price to break above here at 46,332. Look for it to retest and continue up higher. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my parameters over here. 46,332. Again, this has to be a clean break and close past the orb high and continuation above. So I'm looking for price to break and close above this orb high, retest continuation up to the upside right there. Overall direction is still very bullish, so I'll be looking for other entries here as well. A ton of liquidity grabs here. So if you guys see this right here, liquidity grab from this upper end. Price pretty much grab liquidity here at the upper level. This is the Asia high. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So pretty much all of liquidity here that I marked up pre-market, it's pretty much been knocked out. So I'm just going to clean this up as much as possible. For me, I like to have a clean, very clean chart or as clean as possible. So all this liquidity right here got knocked out. If you went for liquidity pushes right there, those are all pretty much knocked out right there as price continues to push through. Uh, yeah, so this is as clean as it's going to get for now. Price again is retesting the Asia high. We have a pending high right here at the higher high. This is where the swing high is going to be for the orb. So if you're looking to take the orb there, I'm basically waiting for price to break and close past this higher high. Um, what I'm going to look for here is I'm going to look for some confluences. So with this said, I'm looking for price to kind of retrace down a little bit, establish a low, and then this higher high right here is going to be two entries. It's going to be an entry for a high-low break and retest, and it's also going to be an entry for um, an orb buy. So again, I'm looking for price to break and close past this structure right here. I'll be following it. I need to see a clean break and close past the structure. So I need it to actually close past it with a clean break. I don't want to see it come up here and retest it, right? I don't want it here to kind of bounce off this area. If I see that right there, that just shows me that there's not enough power behind this price action to push price through it. And what I'm going to expect is a possible fake out. So if I see some rejection here, I'm going to expect this to happen, right? Fake out back into the range. I don't want to see that because my stop loss here is really tight. The ATR right now is currently at 22. So if I get into this and it doesn't break through, it's going to pull right back to my stop loss before it pushes up. So what I might see here, if this isn't a clean break, is price may fake out, pull back below, and then push right back up, right? This is kind of what we got caught in this week earlier. Uh, Not just this week, but previous weeks as well. The overall direction is bullish, so we are trading in the proper direction. It's just because these candles are a little strong, with regard to ATR. If you guys are not familiar with ATR, ATR stands for average true range. So this is the average of every single candle that comes up on the 1 minute. With that being said, because my stop loss is at 20 points and the ATR is bigger than my stop loss, it means that with one little pullback, it can easily stop me out. But that's the thing here, right? The thing is we want to keep our stops pretty tight because if we're wrong, I don't mind getting out for a half hour because I'm doing this for a 1 to 2 and I'm also taking half risk. So every time I take a loss, it's just half a loss. So I'm okay with taking these here. Um, but it gives me more opportunities to possibly recoup that and bounce back on the next trade. Thing is, I'd rather not have to do that, and I'd rather just wait versus forcing a trade here. So again, not forcing any trades here. I am going to follow through and just kind of see where price ends up pushing around here. So no break yet. The orb high has not been broken. There's no low here established yet either. Looks like price is breaking, retesting the structure as we spoke about earlier. So price came up, came down, looking for that continuation back up. We're still stuck in this huge range, guys. This is a range from this morning, basically, within this middle area right here. A lot of the structure that I drew up, so I drew up a lot of these resistance points that are pretty much invalidated, but I'll just keep them up for visualization purposes. Um, we have a possible, yeah, we have a possible well, it's pending right now. Possible imbalance right here. It's about to close. So this right here is the imbalance. So it goes the imbalance right there. Price pretty much created this imbalance, retested. This here might be coming right back down. We've been talking about this pretty much for the past couple of weeks, guys. This is this type of market that we don't want to be taking anything that is unnecessary. Like right now, a lot of the trades here down the middle are pretty much unnecessary. I talk about this with you guys pretty much every day. It's just market conditions aren't good for directional strategies, right? If you want to take sweeps, this is probably the type of market to take sweeps. For me personally, I don't really like taking sweeps very much, but we're coming to a point where, sweeps might have to be the main focus. My main focus is really directional entries. and breakouts. Problem with the breakouts and the directional entries is that we have the breakout initially on open, right? And then the market here kind of flattens out. It flattens out or it goes into a super, super heavy range. Let's go ahead and take a look at the orb over here again. So the orb hasn't filled yet. And you can see we've had this problem where price kind of just, it establishes the range and then it doesn't go anywhere after that, right? It kind of stays in this middle area. And then if it ever does push outside of it, it's usually a fake out, right? So price will kind of break out of the range, fake out, and then not actually continue. So fake out and then pull back into the range. Right here, we have a price breaking past the orb low. So if you guys are looking to take the orb sell right here, this is your opportunity. I don't think I'll take the orb sell because my overall bias is still very bullish, right? Um, Overall trend over here is pretty mixed. And the last thing I want to do is take the orb sell and then get faked out right here. So if you guys want to take this, go ahead and take it at your own risk. The orb sell is currently pending right now. If you guys want to take your orb sell, put your pending order right here at 46,237. So 46,237 is where your orb sell is going to be pending at. What you're looking for here is you're looking for price to come up, fill your order, and then come back down lower. The thing that I would be worried about here is because my overall bias is still very bullish. What I'm expecting here to maybe happen is possibly fake out and pull back into the range. Right. So for me personally, this isn't a good entry for me. If I was to take this trade and if it was to lose, this would be considered a bad trade because it doesn't go along with my bias. My bias is bullish. So I'm really looking for buys here, not sells. But if you guys want to take this here, again, you can take it at your own risk. So you can see here, price is starting to fake out and pull back into the upper range. That's what I just warned you guys about, right? This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. I'm just giving you guys the probabilities here. The probabilities of this faking out and pulling back up are more likely than price to break and retest to continue down lower from here. So you just have to factor in your probabilities. I mean, that's really what trading is all about, right? It's about factoring your probabilities. You want to be trading in a direction that leans in the favor of your probabilities. Right here, my probabilities are leaning more towards the upside, right? Because my market structure here, although it's kind of mixed, you can see here it's still pretty bullish across the board. 5 minutes bullish, 1 hour is bullish, 4 hours bullish. So any drop right here will be just temporary. Although the trade is running right now, and I wouldn't want to fade my own trade here. So obviously, I would like this to come and actually hit before it pulls back up. So it's on its way down right now. If you guys are in this position, I do highly recommend you move your stop loss in profit. So typically, I would move my stop loss in profit from here to about 10 points. So your stop loss in profit, you can move it to the top of this body of this candle. It's already hit 30 points, so you should guarantee about 10 points here. Actually, a little lower right there. So stop loss and profit, I'd move right there. Looks like the full target's about to get hit right there for 40 points. Again, like I said, this is a little tricky. So if I was in this position, stop loss would get moved in profit, guarantee 10, shoot for the 40, and full TP right there for 40 points. So if you guys caught the orb right there, nice work. If you guys didn't catch it, it's completely fine. This would have been considered a risky entry, in my opinion. So I'm going to put this in the stats over here so that we can document it. It's always good to document these trades so that we know which orbs are hitting, which orbs are not, so that you guys can have an idea in the future what the stats are looking like for the orb. I know not everybody likes to take the orb here. Here's Jonathan. Jonathan took the momentum breakout, 500 on that one trade. So nice work right there, Jonathan. He took the breakout here on open. So solid work right there. Both breakouts for today hit full TP, guys. If you guys took the momentum breakout, full TP right there for 50 points. If you take the orb entry, full TP over here for 40 points. Looks like Daniel got it and Singh got it as well. PC said with the pre-market high sweep probability, the downside changes drastically. Yeah, exactly. So I was, I'm able to switch to sells once my bias kind of flips a little bit, but yeah, I think this over here was a nice confluence. We had price pretty much sweep the Asia highs right here. That's one confluence. The other confluence here was the imbalance. Price broke and retest the imbalance, and then price is now starting to drop lower. So I'll look for continuations here to the downside. Looks like there was a high-low break and retest off this lower low, if anybody caught that right there too. It was a very tight move, but it did break and reclose right there, or break and retest off this lower low. So this candle right here broke past this lower low, and it retested on this candle following it. Still, I probably wouldn't take this entry myself because it doesn't meet my criteria, right? Like I mentioned before, I have a criteria that I follow. I only trade in the direction of my overall bias. My overall bias was bullish for the day. It doesn't mean it's going to be fully overall bullish for the entire day. It can easily shift. Let's take a look at the daily outlook. So the daily outlook for the day, overall market bias is bullish with medium conviction. It's not high conviction, but it's medium. The fundamentals lean bullish. Fed easing expectations, which is going to happen tomorrow. Softer USD, positive global sentiment, while technicals show neutral to slightly bullish structure, but capped by strong resistance. So as you can see over here, the fundamentals lean bullish long term, but the technicals here have reached pretty much a ceiling. And that's why right here it's medium conviction because although price is likely to push up higher long term, price can easily flip back down because of the current structure. So with that being said, that's why for me here, I'm still looking for price to correct back up. Like this here can be a temporary drop to the downside and then a swing back up. So we'll see. We have a lot more imbalances here. Let me see. I'm just going to mark up the imbalances that are actually relevant, like the ones which have been retested. A lot of these here have not been retested, so I wouldn't exactly follow them directly. All right, so the thing with this right here, guys, is you want to be very careful about chasing the sells, right? Because price is dropping, but you want to be careful about chasing the sells here because what could happen next is price can easily just flip the other way. Clean this up again. All right, I'm gonna try to clean up my chart as much as possible. I've cleaned up all of the old liquidity levels that have been broken through. And we'll continue following through here. There's an MPS V2 which is currently running. So a lot of continuation moves here. My bias here hasn't really shifted yet, so not really looking to take anything here, but there's an MPS V2 which is currently running in profit right there. So we get a sell signal, retracement on this green candle, continuation on this red candle right here, and drop further. But like I said earlier, guys, be careful with chasing the sells here because eventually price is going to it's going to get stagnant and it's going to flip right back up. So if anything, I would have caught the initial break, but right here is a little bit too tricky because price is already overextended. Let's measure from this upper higher high. Let's just see how far price has pushed down so far. Typically, my threshold is around 150 to 200. You can see price here has pushed down about 200 points. It's due for retracement, right? So price has pushed down 200. It's now going to retrace up a little bit. It'll probably retrace up about 100 to 150 points. So now that we have that retracement right there, I would measure from here on up, and it looks like we might get a retracement up to the midpoint, either 100 or the midpoint up here. Let's see where the opening price was at. Typically, we talked about this yesterday. Back to open is usually going to be the threshold for retracement. All right, so we got that right there. I'm gonna delete these. I don't really use these templates. All right, so with that being said, we're currently right here at the low, and it may retrace back to open right there, the blue line. That is the opening price. Nice. So Sam over here and Singh caught he bought yesterday's low, and he is riding this back up. This price continues to push forward. So it looks like Singh and Sam are pulling or they're grabbing the sweep that happened right here off the low. I had liquidity here marked up earlier. I deleted them already, but there was liquidity sitting right here. Looks like we have a break and retest off this support. Yeah, Singh said break even on his entry was not the best. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to get a little choppy here, so it's going to be tricky to catch those sweeps. What I've noticed is the sweeps work best in the very beginning of the market. So basically the first, 20 or I'd say 15 to 30 minutes. We're about 17 minutes into market open. So like obviously, the big sweeps here already happen from up there and from down here. One thing that I like to look at with the sweeps is the whole numbers, right? So you can see over here, this is the 46 150. Perfect sweep off the whole number right there. Typically, I like to look at the extremes. So if you're looking to take a sweep a bit higher, um, I mean, these sweeps over here pretty much played out perfect. So we had a sweep over here off the 46 300, and then a sweep right here off the 46 150. I mean, this one right here is perfect. Very, very clean sweep right there. I like to use the whole numbers. If you guys want to add the levels indicator to your chart, I have it set to 50. So every 50 right here, I have lines marked up. That's where I would expect sweeps to likely happen. So I'll clean that up a little bit right there. It's not super necessary. So here we go as price starts to correct back up. My overall bias for today is still bullish, like I talked about earlier. You can see our price is now starting to correct back up. We have this huge range, and I'm expecting price to push back to open here. This is going to be the target price point for price to reach, that blue line. Nice. Sam over here booked 50%. He's now holding. So here's where it's going to be a little tricky. Price is retesting an imbalance right here. There's a possible imbalance. If this here closes past the area, it's going to mitigate it, which probably is going to happen here. So this is going to invalidate the sells, and it looks like price is now flipping back up. We have another imbalance here the opposite way. So if this here closes, which it looks like it's going to, we have about 10 seconds left on it. I'm going to adjust this imbalance to this red candle and this green candle right here for a bullish imbalance. There's also another imbalance here. So this is, you're going to see imbalances in both direction. So we have an imbalance right here. This is a buy imbalance. And then we have another imbalance right here. There's two imbalances pretty much opposite of each other. So we have a sell imbalance right here, and this is a buy imbalance. It's kind of moving hand in hand with the support and resistance right there. I'll just leave that up because I prefer to have this per resistance up from prior. So it looks like a fake out right here. Price tried to climb up. It faked out above this. If this closes below this imbalance here, it's going to be invalidated. This imbalance is created from this red candle right here and this green candle right here. You guys can see how this big green candle created a gap. What happened here though is price retested this imbalance. So you guys can see it's pretty messy. This is why I don't like trading fair value gaps or imbalances, whichever you want to call it, because a lot of times they're pretty messy. This imbalance is created from this red candle and this lower one right here. This red push is the imbalance that was pretty much factored in. So this right here is pretty much invalidated. It got created and then it faked out. So it looks like we currently have a range between this upper imbalance, which was created right here, and the lower support, which is now down here. We're just getting a range down here now, back and forth, back and forth. So as you guys can see, this is, and the ATR is actually really high. If you look down below, the ATR is currently at 29. If the volatility stays this high, we might have to adjust our TP stop loss. We're typically applying a 40-20 TP stop loss. It becomes very tricky if we try to trade with this here because the stop loss might be too tight. Typically, I'm trading with a 20-40 or a 40-20. If anything, I might have to adjust it to 30-60 or 60-30. We'll see. I don't have to make adjustments right now. It's just the volatility is a little higher today than it is normally. All right, so we have a high-low break and retest possibly setting up right here for a sell. I think the sells here are still going to be very tricky, guys, if you guys are looking to take it. So we have price breaking and closing past this lower low. What you want to look for here, if you're looking for that high-low break and retest, is for price to come back and retest this structure, this lower low, which is at 46 128. So 46 128. I'll be watching here. I'm not really looking to get into it yet because the bias here hasn't really confirmed for a sell. We'll go back and take a look at the overall trend. But right now, this is the next possible opportunity. If you want to take this as a high-low break and retest, it has to fill on this current candle right here. So this would have to pull back on this current candle. If it doesn't pull back and fill, no entry there. Let's take a look at the overall trend. Overall trend is a little mixed right now. So if you look over here on the lower time frames, price is bearish on the 1 minute, price is below the pivots, trend meter is red, pivots are angling down. Over here on the 5 minute, price is bearish as well, price below the pivots, trend meter red, and pivots are angling down. Here on the 15, price is more on the neutral side. Price did close below the pivots, however, the trend meter down below is still blue, and the pivots are going sideways. So with that being said, we have a bearish to neutral bias on the lower time frames. On the higher time frames here, it's still very bullish. So just something to be aware of as price continues to move along. One thing that I started to notice, guys, so this is one thing that I've noticed with my momentum tools is see right here that we have a bullish momentum on the 4 hour time frame. I'm expecting the 7 o'clock candle to be bullish. So just something to keep in mind. This is something that you guys might want to, if you want to take it. The 7 o'clock candle is opening in about 6 minutes. What I've started to notice is that if we have bullish momentum here on the 4 hour, the 1 hour candle from 7 until 10 is usually going to be bullish. So see how price is dumping down super hard right here? I'm expecting price at 7 o'clock, and I'll mark it up right here. I'm expecting price at 7 o'clock right here to, and there's no fill on this high-low break and retest. I'm expecting it to push up. So I think we're starting to establish a floor right here. We're establishing a floor. And around 7 o'clock here, I'm expecting price to push up at least 50 to 100 points, probably back to open. This is just from what I've noticed with the momentum confirmation. So you can see over here, previously we had a sell signal, and at 7 o'clock, price tends to come down. So see the 7 o'clock candle? Sell signal, and it comes down at least 150 to 100 points. See how this came down? Full TP right there for 100 points. This is from my observation. So I'm expecting this here to push back up in the next 5 minutes. You can see I'm developing a strategy around this. It's not a new strategy. We used to apply the strategy a long time ago, but we base it off the 1 minute, not the we base it off the 1 minute and we base it off the 1 hour. This here is based off the 4 hour, but the entry is off the 1 hour. So I'm expecting price to establish a floor right here and then possibly a climb up. So if that's the case, I'll be looking for possible buy entries in that direction. I'll use it as a confluence and then I'll try to ride this back up to open. Just something to keep in mind. So what I'll do right here is I'll probably mark it up on the 1 hour. This is the 1 hour time frame. We'll follow it through right here to kind of see where this ends up going. Or I'll put it on a little later. I don't want to make a mess on my chart. So I'll be looking for the recovery back to the upside here in the next couple of minutes. I don't believe there's news today. Let me check real quick. So we had news this morning at 5:30. We have business inventories at 7, so it's not high impact, but we do have news at 7 o'clock. But earlier this morning, we did have news at 5:30, which was right here, basically nothing too crazy. It actually didn't even push price at all. We had high impact news right here at 5:30. And then I think 6:15 as well. Yeah, no reactions right there. We had news right here. I'll delete the 6:15. It was low impact. But the high impact news event over here was bullish at 5:30. Then we have medium impact news here at 7 o'clock. We'll take off that second one. It's not necessary. All right, guys, price is starting to flatten out right here. Like I said earlier, around 7 o'clock, I'm expecting this here to push up. So expect a 50 to 100 point push to the upside. We don't really have to mark this up. What I'm going to look for here and I'm going to use as a confluence is really just a push from down here back to open. right? Some sort of correction there. So we have I'm going to create a resistance here. I'm going to delete this imbalance and I'm just going to create a resistance right here. It's going to be from this lower high. So we got a resistance right there. I took off that imbalance. There's a pending imbalance right here, which hasn't been retested yet. And we'll see what happens right here. So let's see if my assumption here plays out around 7 o'clock. So this support here hasn't really been established. I just have this here. This is a pending support. Delete this imbalance. Try to clean up the chart as much as I can here. A little messy. That up a little bit. That up a little bit. All right, we got the 7 o'clock candle coming up in about 20 seconds. So what I'm expecting here, guys, is a correction back to open. It doesn't have to happen right away, but I'm expecting there to be a 1 hour candle push back up. So looking at this right here, it's a nice rejection off the pivot, and I'm expecting a correction back up from here. It might not happen immediately, but that's what I'm expecting to happen over a period of time. So 7 o'clock right here, we have medium impact news. We'll see how market reacts to it. Medium impact right here is so let's see. It was mixed. So business inventories was neutral, retail inventories was positive, and AGB housing market index was negative. So market is probably going to react to this right here first. It'll probably drop a little bit and then it'll swing back up. Let's see if there's any areas of sweep below. So none that I see here, not yet. If anything, price may pull down right here to this London high, reject off it, and then pull back up. Want to keep an idea of the range here. Yeah. So I'll keep an idea of the range here. This could be a possible fake out and then swing right back up. Just going to use that as a confluence. Like I said earlier, I'm expecting price to correct back up at some point. This right here looks like a news reaction. See the big red candle right here at 7 o'clock? This big red candle here is a reaction to the news event that happened right here at 7 o'clock. Housing data. It was negative. So with that said, now that price has reacted to it, we'll see if it continues or if it corrects back up. My guess is that there's going to be a correction, right? Because there's two things that are going to happen here. We had a reaction to news. It's either going to correct back down or it's going to correct back up, right? One or the other. There's no entries here for us to take, but I'll be waiting for that correction back up or confirmation to the downside. I'm looking over here at my overall market structure. It's pretty mixed right now. So earlier this morning, it was pretty bullish, and now it's more on the neutral side. Market structure is showing sells right now across the 1 minute to the 30, but this can easily shift within the next couple minutes or so. So I'm going to leave this here pretty much unmarked. We have another, here, let me take off this support level because it hasn't been established yet. We have another imbalance right here. Basically, I have two imbalances right here. This one hasn't been retested, as you guys can see. Price came below, never retested it for a confirmation. Same with this one right here. This imbalance was created from this green candle and this red candle down here. This big push is where the imbalance was established. And now what you want to look for here is a possible break and a retest of this to continue back down lower. Like I mentioned earlier, price may come down to this London high and then correct back up. For those of you, I know some of you guys here like to trade the inverted fair value gaps. To identify that, you want to see price over here basically mitigate this imbalance and continue up higher, right? So if you're looking for that inverted fair value gap, for a lot of you guys who like to trade that, that's the pattern that you're looking for here. You're going to look for price to attempt to retest, actually mitigate it, and then come back up. That would be an IFVG for those of you who like to. I don't take that strategy, but I use it as a confluence. So a lot of you guys like to take this, right? If this happens, this would be an inverted or inverse fair value gap. So this is one scenario. The other scenario is price comes up and retests it and doesn't actually break and comes back lower. In that situation, then it's a regular fair value gap. Again, I don't trade that strategy. I just call it imbalances because that's what the actual name is for it. Some people like to call it fair value gaps. A fair value gap is just an imbalance. So some people like to take the inverse, which is fake out continuation. Some people like to take the normal continuation, right? So you can be on either side. You can either be an inverse trader or you can be a directional trader. For me personally, I'm more of a directional trader, so I like to trade the continuation. Let's see. Barack said he thinks 46.55 is still a target for a bear momentum. Let's see. 46.55. Yeah, so price already actually reached that area, Barack. 46.55. Yeah, it's already there actually. Let's see. Certain said I'm looking at the NFP buyers. Yeah, so let's go back and take a look at NFP from earlier this week. So NFP from last Friday. Yeah, it looks like they're getting stopped out right here, right? So it's basically filling in the gap. So price pretty much gapped up from here, and now it's refilling the gap from those NFP buyers. So the London high here is actually a good price point for it to bounce from because it looks like it's starting to wipe out the buyers, like Stern mentioned, and then possibly continuation back up. I could see that. So what I'm really looking for here is I'm just looking for this to flip back to the upside, which may push down a little lower and swing back up. There's not really much here to work with. All right, here, let me check real quick, see how far prices dropped. So big news drop right there. So prices came down about 80 points. So the initial hypotheses over here for it pushing down and correcting back up, there's still space here for price to reach down to. Um, I'm really just waiting for this here to swing back up, right? Until we have a confirmation of that, I'm not really looking to take anything. I'm really not looking to take sells. I think that's probably going to be the main thing that I'm looking not to take. I'm not looking to take sells. I'm looking for the correction back up. So I'd like to see this mitigated, retested, and shoot back up. If that's the case, then I can see a change of character, a change of structure right back to the upside. I'm basically looking for price to come back up and flip back to the upside. Because if you guys have noticed over these past couple of weeks, eventually price will hit a floor or hit a ceiling, and then it pulls back to the opening price. Right. It tends to happen. So like for example, here market opened up at 6:30, price pushed up, established a ceiling, came back down to open. Now we're establishing a floor and pull back to open. Otherwise, if we have a directional push here, great. It's just there's no entries here to take. So if you look over here, we talked about this yesterday. One of my main strategies is a break and retest off a break and retest off structure, which right here, we just didn't really have that, right? So I'd love to take a break and retest, but you can see over here that the entries just never come up. We had price break past lower low right here, but it never retested on the following candle, right? So although we did have a consolidation here and a pushback down, there was no entry here for us to take. There's two main strategies that I tend to apply and look to take. Neither of them have been fitting my criteria lately. I would say for the past couple of weeks. The thing with the market is that this is just, this is the market and this is trading. You have to understand when to sit out and you have to understand when to play. Right now is not a time to play. So the main strategies I'm looking for or I look to take are these directional entries, high-low break and retest. You can see looking back from market open till now, there were zero high-low break and retest for today. Right, zero. You look over here at the breakouts, both of these breakouts hit, but they weren't in my criteria with regards to direction of overall bias. My overall bias for today was just too strong for a buy, so there's no reason for me to take that sell here for the orb, right? Which sucks sometimes because the filter here kind of gets in the way in some instances, but realistically, this filter helps me avoid a lot of bad entries. So for me personally, I like to use the filter. Um, it just kind of depends. It just kind of depends. Plus, we have a really big day tomorrow with the Fed releasing the interest rate cuts. I think this right here is kind of price is kind of baked in right now, right? I think price is baked in because we are expecting price to have some sort of a drop tomorrow. Here are my swing trades. So my limit order right now currently for the Dow is at 45,750. I was tempted to move it up right here a little higher to like the 46,000 price point, but I think this is going to drop down further. So what I'm expecting to happen tomorrow is I'm looking for price to come down, fill my order right here, and then swing right back up. So if you guys are looking to take a swing trade, this is one of my swing trades. I've been kind of just waiting for this to hit this week. Um, I'm just being really, really patient and not jumping in too early because eventually I do expect it to come up or come down and shoot right back up. So this right here is my entry, 45,750. I'm just going to leave it there. This might get filled earlier today or, who knows? It might get filled tomorrow. If anything, I might have to drop it even lower because I don't want this to get filled too early. Here's my entry for NASDAQ, for NQ. This one's pretty far down, so I don't have to make adjustments to this. If anything, I have to adjust this higher. For S&P over here, I have the same thing. It's pretty far down. My entry's at 60, 65.75. So this here can easily, I mean, it's got enough space for it to come down, fill, and then possibly swing back up. But I'm looking for the same criteria here. I'm trying to buy the dip, right? I'm looking for price to dip tomorrow for interest rates, and then I'm going to catch the correction back up. So S&P and NASDAQ, they're super high up. I think these are safe. The only one that I might have to adjust here is going to be US 30, US 30 or YM, because we're getting close to my fill here, and we're still not into Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be the big, big entry. If anything, I might have to adjust this back down lower to possibly maybe the 500, because I'm expecting a pretty nice dip. Yeah, I'm not going to make any adjustments here yet, but yes, possibly adjust my limit order to down here in case price dips super strong, fills it, and then shoots right back up. We'll see, but I'll give you guys an update on that if I do make some adjustments. Looks like we're finally establishing a floor here, like an actual floor. If anything, price here may just flip up from this point. I'm still looking for price to break above here, mitigate this imbalance, and correct back to opening price. It's not a really far push up, so I mean it's a decent push up, but not too far. Like I wouldn't say it's out of the question. 242 points, I think it's doable. Let's take a look at CNBC real quick. Any updates? No, no breaking news. No breaking news and nothing else for today. So looking at the news for this week, guys, the big stuff happens tomorrow. We have housing data, pre-market, but the big stuff happens later at 11. 11 o'clock, we have the economic projections, Fed interest rate decisions. You can see over here it's 4.5%, forecasted to be 4.25, a 25 basis point cut, which is what everybody's expecting. That's why a lot of this drop to the downside is baked in because everybody's expecting price to come down. I'm actually looking for the opposite. I'm on the contrarian side. I'm looking for this here to swing back up to pretty much balance out price before it dumps again tomorrow. It's just a matter of time. Let's see. Singh said, "I'm scared for tomorrow. Can we trade New York Open same without much too much fear as the news at night EU time?" Yeah, tomorrow I'll be trading the same way as we normally have synced. The news doesn't happen until 11, so if anything, price might kind of go sideways until then. So we might have a range or a back and forth movement until midday tomorrow. So yeah, you do have the ability to trade how you normally would. And the market here is starting to flatten out, which is okay. It's just the ATR here is starting to get very low. And the problem with this is that I'm not going to be able to take these entries that I'm looking for. Let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, so we have a lower low right here established. We have an imbalance right here. We don't really have any other structure. PC said, I think we go sideways lower today. Yeah, I for sure think we're going to go sideways. The thing with this here is that price is dumped so heavy that I think a retracement or a correction back up is necessary. Not a very big one though, right? So if anything, this is probably as big of a retracement that I'm going to expect for today back to open. That might not even be the case. Price might just retrace up a little bit higher right here, maybe to this imbalance. And then from here, price may come right back down and then range between this area right here. That's just my guess. We don't really have much here to work with. Market volatility here is starting to slow down a bit. As we start to see this in the market where the market slows down a lot around 7 o'clock, this just reinforces the idea that we need to squeeze our trades in a little earlier, right? Between 6:30 and 7. Basically, the first 30 minutes of market open is like where all the action happens, which it typically does happen like that, and then it starts to flatten out. It's not always the case though. All right, we got price pushing up. So let's go back to my analysis here. So I mentioned this earlier. This is what I was looking for. I'm looking for price to come back up, mitigate this imbalance, and then shoot right back up. My target price point is going to be opening price up here. This doesn't necessarily have to be the target price point in general, but that's going to be the ultimate target price point for correction retracement. If anything, price may push up, retest this, and then test the imbalance. Once it reaches this point, well, one of two things are going to happen. It's either going to break it again right here, mitigate this imbalance and push back to open, or it's going to range from here between the imbalances. So two different scenarios here, both bullish, of course. So I'm expecting price here to push up like it's doing right now, possible continuation of higher. All right, so we're right here. We're testing this imbalance. Let's see if my analysis here plays through. Okay, so it's going to mitigate the imbalance right there. Again, price is going to reach this area, and then once it reaches this area, it's either going to push back up to open, or it's going to range between these two imbalances. This imbalance, because it becomes an inverted fair value versus a regular fair value because price is closing above it. So we don't have any entries here yet, but this is going to be exactly what I mentioned, right? This thing is doing exactly what I talked about. So here, remember I talked about the 1 hour candle? So this push up right here, it's doing pretty much what we just talked about. So I mentioned this is probably going to push up at least 100 points. And if it does, it's going to be enough to fill. It's going to be enough to fill that push to the upside right there. All right, so we got price pushing up now as we speak. Like I said earlier, this is the 100-point move that I talked about. This is the observation I made on the 4 hour time frame. We had a buy signal on the 4 hour. Price is now climbing up. Possible a continuation back up here. So this looks like a possible high-low break and retest off the imbalance. If you guys are trading this as a fair value gap, I'm using this as a confluence. It's doing exactly what we talked about. So I'll be looking for possible buys here. And if we get it, we'll see. So we got a retest right here off the imbalance. Again, if you guys are looking for an inverse fair value gap, an IFVG, this is going to be an IFVG right here. It's mitigating this imbalance and then possibly a correction back up higher. So what I might be interested here would be a possible MPSV2 back up, right? This could be a possible MPSV2. We'll see. I mean, if you guys really want to take an entry here, you could possibly get in like from the midpoint. Where's the midline? Midline could be right there, 46.95. It's basically a break and retest off the imbalance right there. So here goes a break and retest off the imbalance. This is going to confirm mitigation and retest of imbalance. This is now an inverse fair value gap. For those of you who like to take those types of entries, here's a possible MPS V2 here as price climbs back up. It's going to be around, let's see, 46,100. So if this candle closes green right here, this will be a possible MPS V2 to the upside. Candle's got to close green though. So there's no MPS V2 there. We do have a retest of the imbalance. So if you want to get in from the midpoint, if you're looking for that break and retest, typically try to get in from the midpoint of the imbalance right there. So price here looks like it's going to stay kind of flat a little bit. But if you guys are looking to catch that bounce, we'll see. No green candle there yet. So there's no MPS V2 yet, guys, like we talked about. So right here, we have a sell. So we have a buy signal right here. Price is pushing up, retraced right here. In order for this to be an MPS V2, you'd look for a green candle close for it to push back up. There's no confirmation of the MPS V2. So this is why I don't like trading fair value gaps, right? Because there's no confirmation yet. For me personally, I like waiting for the confirmation, even if I have to get in later. Although it doesn't mean that this trade's not going to play out. I mean, it's still currently active right now if you're looking for that fair value gap confirmation. This right here could be a possible MPS V2, another retest of that area. I don't like the price action though. This thing's super flat. The green candle is not really confirming very much. So we had the green candle right there. This is technically an MPS V2 currently running now, guys. MPS V2 is currently active and running. Um, yeah, the volatility here is just too flat. I don't think here, what I'll look for here is a possible high-low break and retest off this area. If anything, you can get in right here for so 46,100 could be a possible entry for MPS V2. It's just the volatility is so flat. As much as I would like to maybe get in for this MPS V2, I don't like the flat volatility here. I'd like to just pretty much fill and then go straight up, but this thing here is pretty much not really doing too much at the moment. Another confluence confirmation would be at this lower high. High-low break and retest right there. Yeah, this could be a possible high-low break and retest. What I like to look for here is I like to look for the whole numbers. We talked about this the other day. If anything, I might get into this at the 120. Not right at the high, but at the 120, so I give it a little more space. The high is at 46, 125, but like I said, 120 looks like it'd be a little more ideal. So I'll probably try to get a limit order in right here at the 120. Let's see.
Order submitted.
So this is a high-low break and retest. I'm trying to get in a little lower though.
Order submitted.
There's a lot of entries here running alongside each other. We have the fair value gap. We have the MPS V2, which is also running right next to it. And then there's a possible high-low break and retest right here as well. This would have to fill on this current candle. If it doesn't fill on this candle, I'm gonna have to cancel it. We got 30 seconds left here. So I'm looking for it to come down, fill my order, and then push back up. We got 20 seconds left on here. If this here doesn't fill, I'm gonna be canceling it. We got 10 seconds left, and I think I'm just gonna cancel my order here because it looks like it's not going to fill. All right, order canceled. All right, so this is pretty much doing exactly what we've been talking about all day. I've been looking to get these high-low break and retest, but price never comes, and there you go, the order is canceled. It never comes back down to fill it on the following candle. I should have just got in right here because I was really tempted to get in at the 100 for the high-low break and retest, or not the, for the MPS V2, but I was too hesitant because the candles here are moving so slow. So again, this strategy here is one of the main strategies that I tend to apply, a high-low break and retest. The problem is that we never get the retest, right? Because I'm looking for this pattern here to play out. Only thing is that price will come up and it'll never come back to fill it. So this is really a type of strategy that will test your patience in both ways, right? In a good way, in a bad way. Because the thing is, if you start to go off, like I can easily just not wait for the retest and just get in right away for a regular high-low scalp. The only problem with that is that once I start deviating from my trading plan, that's where I start to make mistakes, right? So right here, price did retest the area. Not in the position here, of course, because it never filled. But the candles are still kind of moving that direction. So like I talked about earlier, guys, I'm looking for price here to push back up to the opening price, which is this blue line, right? Again, what we discussed earlier as well was a possible 100-point move from the 7 o'clock candle. So it's not there yet. It's still currently running, but eventually I'm expecting this 100-point move to get filled. So right here, it looks like we pretty much dodged a bullet from entering these trades a little too early. Let's see if that 100 here would have hit the 40 already. I mean, you would have hit your stop loss and profit for sure. Yeah, so the 40 here actually would have hit, or yeah, barely. 46, 100. Yeah, it would have barely hit. There was a lot of entries on this setup here. And here we go, this price comes back down. So probably a good decision that this here did not fill it for our order, because if it filled our order, we would have gone stopped out. So a couple entries here which ran alongside each other. The retest of the imbalance, and then the the sorry, the MPS V2. All right, let me take off this midline. I think this imbalance is pretty much done with. So the imbalance is done now. And there's actually a support level turned resistance here now. We have another imbalance here, but there's a lot of imbalances. They're everywhere. Okay, So looking at this, again, if you guys are new here, if you guys are not familiar with my structure, one second, guys. Got to sneeze there. So the the boxes that go from left to right that cover the entire screen, those are support and resistance levels. The half boxes here or the partial boxes are imbalances. I have them labeled as imbalance. The problem with the imbalances here is that there's too many of them, right? They keep coming up. So the ones that I like to use or that I like to identify are the ones that are actually retested. Those are the imbalances that are actually holding its place. So for example, right here, we have a new imbalance which came up. I'm looking for it to come here and retest the imbalance. If it does that, then I'm going to establish this as a strong imbalance. If it doesn't retest it and mitigates it, then I delete it. All right, so still nothing here right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'm still looking for opportunities here for entry. Right now, this is kind of just, price is just sitting here right down the middle. I'm really itching to take a trade here, but I don't want to get into anything that's, considered risky or unnecessary. Yeah, there's just nothing here right now, unfortunately. Price here just going back and forth. So there's a couple things here that I need to kind of look at with regard to our TP stop loss. Again, like we talked about this earlier, our average TP stop loss that we've been using is about 40/20. The problem is that the volatility here is very choppy, right? Some days we have very high volatility, some days we have normal volatility. Today is considered a normal volatility day. We've been sitting around 20 for the most part. Some days are a lot less, like around 17. Some days are up to 30. So there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that you'd have to adjust is probably the TP stop loss, right? We typically use a 40/20. If the volatility stays high, then we'll just switch it to a 60/30. I don't think I'll go anywhere lower than a 40/20 because my stop loss is already really tight at 20. If anything, I'll go wider for a 60/30. I'm not ready to make that adjustment, but if the market continues to become more volatile, which it probably will, we'll probably make that adjustment at some point. There's actually another one. So I'll probably do either 30/20 is going to be a little drastic. The other shift is going to be 50/25. So you just got to make small adjustments to your TP stop loss. Right now we're pretty tight because we're in the summer market, which is pretty slow. This is like more of the intermediate, about 25/50, and then the wider is going to be 30/60. One thing that I also was thinking about looking into is possibly ES. I don't really trade ES, but if ES is having more opportunities here, I mean, it kind of does. So we had price break and close below the lower low. The thing with ES, guys, is that it's just like YM. It's just a little slower. So right here, price broke and closed past structure, retested right there. Let me check the orb for today on ES too to see if it was any better. So the orb here actually would have never filled. Price broke past structure, never came back for that retest. The only thing here that I have been noticing is that the ES break and retest are actually feeling a lot better. I just don't know what TP stop loss should be because I don't trade ES. I think if anything, it'd be at 2010, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'll probably look into other assets, mainly just ES, if there should be, some crossover. I'm not going that into a big drastic change though. It's same strategy. It's just looking at an asset that's moving a little bit smoother compared to what we're currently stuck with YM. Although I know we probably shouldn't make those adjustments. Um, the other adjustments that could be made is just time frame wise. If you guys have been trading with me for a while, about I'd say maybe 4 years ago, we used to trade on different time frames. So instead of the 1 minute, we would trade on the 3 minute, which would provide a lot of opportunities for entry. We just don't really have anything here though. right? So let me see the orb for today if we were on the 3 minute time frame. So this is what I started to notice a lot more of. So this is a 3 minute time frame right here. See the orb? It's actually a cleaner orb. So the first 3 minute candle right here established the high and the low, and price broke and closed below the structure right there. Um, so that's another thing that I might look at. So you guys can see here, like there's a lot of different variations you can apply. You can apply the same strategies on the same asset. You can just change the time frames. Like if the 1 minute, the thing with with the 1 minute here is that we just haven't really had many entries, right? I don't want to go as far up as the 5 minute because if we go on the 5 minute, we're definitely not going to get any entries because this is, the candles are just moving a little too slow here. I mean, there could be possible entries. So like for example, right here, see this lower low? This would be a high low break and retest off the 5 minute. But for something like this, we would just have to make adjustments to our TP stop loss, like I talked about earlier. Because a 5 minute, the ATR is going to be a lot higher, right? It's going to be about like 46. So what we might have to do here is profit 100, stop loss 50. Still works though. It's just it's just a little too high of a time frame. So I think over the next couple of days and into the next week, I'm gonna basically test the strategies on different time frames. I'm gonna do a lot of I'm gonna do a lot of like testing on the 3 minute and the 5 minute to see if there's a better time frame that we can trade on, even the 2 minute maybe. So the 2 minute time frame right here, even this here has, more opportunities because there's too much chop on the 1 minute. So if you see here on this lower low, price broke past the structure, retested right there, high low break and retest, right? The ATR right here is at 30. So we would use a 60-30 for this one. So the main thing here is really just changing the you look for little nuances in the market, right? We typically trade on the 1 minute, but if the lately we've seen on the 1 minute, it's just there's no entries, right? It doesn't matter what like what we look for. We've been looking at this for about 2, 3 months, and there's been very, very minimal entries. So if anything, all we have to do is really change the time frame a little bit, right? Just kind of flip it around a little bit. Look at the 2 minute. There's a nice opportunity right there on the 2 minute for a high low break and retest. This happened right here around before 7 o'clock. Um, I mean, there's another one right here. So there's actually two entries here which would have came up. There's one right here off this higher low. That's a high low break and retest. And then another one right here. Price broken close past the structure, retested right there. Perfect entry. So I think I'm going to look at the 2 minute and then look at the 3 minute. I don't think I'll go as far as the 5 minute. I think the 5 minute, like you'd have to hold on to this for like a long time. It's just it's a long hold to hold on to. I mean, a 100 point move is pretty far, especially if you're trading with something like Apex. It's going to be really difficult to hold on to that position. But I mean, just going back between the 3 and the 2 minute, really nice confirmations right here. Right now, I'm kind of curious to check this on the orb to see if the orb is actually working better on different time frames too. If not, we can leave the orb as is. I mean, the orb, there's nothing wrong with the orb here. Here, let's see. I'm going to take this orb off. I'm going to adjust the parameters here a little bit. So 2 minute, I'll do 3 minute. Got my settings too on here. So we'll do 6:30. I mean, the orb would have pretty much been exactly the same for the most part. Pretty much would have been exactly the same. I'm curious to see on previous days though, if it's any better. I mean, sort of. Yeah, I guess I mean, 3 minute here looks like it could be working pretty nice. The thing is, like, I like to look at obscure time frames, right? A lot of people don't look at the 2 minute and they don't look at the 3 minute. 3 minute used to be our favorite time frame for a good while. I think the 3 minute was like we were on the 3 minute for almost a year, maybe 2 years. I mean, there's still no entries here sometimes that don't come up. This here would still be a loss, looks like, on this day, or it might have been a stop loss in profit. The only difference here is we're gonna have to adjust our targets a little bit. So it doesn't look like the orb here makes a big difference. I think for the directional moves, it does make a difference, but for the orb here, the orb, we should just stick to the 2 minute, what we've been doing. There's no need to make adjustments to the orb. The adjustments would have to be made to the regular scalp entries. Yeah. The orb here doesn't need to make, we don't need to make adjustments to it. You just gotta wait for the orb to kind of pick back up and start playing out how it was previously. All right, so I'm gonna leave the orb there alone. But I think for our directional moves here, I'm just gonna make some adjustments, or I'm gonna try to change it up a little bit just to see where the probability is hitting a little better. Maybe on the 2 minute, maybe on the 3 minute. CJ's asking how many liquidity sweeps came up today. I don't know exactly how many, but I know there was one up here, so that was one. There was another one that happened somewhere down in this area, so that was two, maybe three from down here. I think like three solid liquidity sweeps might have came up today, CJ. Yeah, Frenchie said I love the 3 minute, got my 100 point to 46.70 sell. Nice. Yeah, the 3 minute's one of my favorites. A lot of people don't use the 3 minute because they don't know how to really navigate through it. But I think the 3 minute over here, let me just go back. Again, there's no entries right now, guys, so there's nothing that you guys are missing. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. There's just nothing here to take right now. We don't really have much of a bias. We don't really have much of structure here. If you guys are just joining in, there's a couple entries which came up. The entry that came up first was the momentum breakout. It hit full TP for 50 points right there. If you guys don't know what full TP stands for, it's for full profit target or target profit. That was the first entry, momentum breakout. The second entry that came up was the orb here. So we had the 2 minute orb, full TP for 40 points. And then other than that, we had a couple continuation moves here. Not a lot because a lot of these setups just didn't come up. But there were a couple entries here that we were looking at that came up and set up pretty nicely. We're currently ranging right now within these two structures, so not really too much here to work with, but we do have a resistance right here where price is currently sitting. We have another resistance, which is up here at this higher high. So yes, another one right there. So looking at this right here, I mean, this is basically another range. Price is pushing up to possibly retest this imbalance. There's two imbalances right here, actually. There's another imbalance right here, which is below. It's an imbalance right below the previous imbalance. This one over here is currently being retested right now. So we have an imbalance up here. This hasn't been retested. This imbalance over here is actually being retested. So this imbalance was created between this red candle and this green one right here. This big red candle that pushed down is where the imbalance was established. Right here, price broke below it. It's retesting and pushing back down lower as we speak. Yeah, PC said he strictly trades on the 1 minute and 30 second higher time frame for bias. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I do too, PC. It's just the problem is a lot of these entries haven't been coming up on the 1 minute. I know we shouldn't be flipping between time frames, but I think it's about time for me to start looking into other time frames because the market here has been pretty choppy for me for the past, month or so. So it might be time for a small change, not a big change, but a small change to maybe the 2 minute or the 3 minute. So there's no entries here at the moment, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to look into the chat and type away. Ask whatever questions you guys have. What I'm going to do here, though, meanwhile, is I'm going to look back to the 3 minute to see if there's any other opportunities here that I might be interested in. So let's take a look at the market yesterday on Monday. So on Monday over here, I'm just kind of curious to see if there's any opportunities which came up that could have been, we could have capitalized on. Because if that was the case, then, maybe the 3 minute might have been better for yesterday. So looking at this right here, I mean, not really. It looks like the market here is still pretty choppy, so it doesn't really make a huge difference. This here price broke above. Overall bias is pretty much mixed, so there's nothing there. I'm gonna check Friday real quick. Because if that's the case, and we still have a choppy market on Friday on the 3 minute, then there's no need to make any adjustments. I'm just kind of curious to see. This would have been a nice entry, looks like. Price broke past structure, high-low break and retest right there. The ATR is at 17, so the 2040 would still work here. Solid. Let me check one more day, Thursday. No entry there. No entry there. Wednesday. No, it looks like there's not really much here on the, there still isn't much here on the 3 minute. So I don't think there's going to be a need to really make that adjustment. I'll do a deeper back test on my own time, but I was just kind of curious to see if there was any changes here that we could have done, but there really isn't much. All right, so back to the 1 minute over here, our main chart. Looking at this here, there's still nothing going on. Price here has retested the imbalance, but there's no opportunities here for entry. So again, if you guys want to trade the imbalances, you can always trade the midline if you're looking for the retest. So this is basically the retest of the imbalance. Price broke below the structure right here, created an imbalance, price came down. If you wanted to enter this for a retest of the imbalance, the entry would typically be taken at the midline, just right there. So this is technically still running right now if you were trying to take this as an imbalance entry. The problem with this here is that I'm not really convinced to take sells because my overall market structure is not very bearish, right? For me, in order to take some sells here, I need to have a pretty strong confluence or confirmation. We don't have those strong confluences or confirmation here. We do have a bearish trend, of course. I mean, that's pretty clear here. We have a bearish trend, but it's not as clean as I would like. Yeah, Sam said 1 minute is for him. 30 seconds is too fast. I agree. I've tried to look at the 30 minute. It's way too fast for me too. It's a little too fast. Ah, man, this is another one of those weeks. I was really like, I say this every week, guys, and hopefully I'm not sounding like a broken record, but really, we every week we hope for there to be directional move, and it just continues to be choppy. I'm hoping after tomorrow it's gonna make, there's gonna be some catalyst in the market to really push price around. But let's look on the higher time frames over here because the thing is, lower time frames here, the choppiness is pretty obvious. But if it shows here on the higher time frames, I mean, it's pretty obvious right here on the 1 hour and 30 minute, right? So let's take a look at the 1 hour time frame. Uh, so looking over here on the 1 hour time frame, see how these candles did not do anything? We've been in this sideways choppy market and this is a higher time frame. This isn't the 1 minute, this isn't the 5 minute, this is the 1 hour. See how price here has been going sideways for like weeks. This is why it's been really difficult to take these directional moves because there's like those big directional candles that happen like on open or based off the news, but after that, nothing happens. Price goes flat for weeks, right? This whole week market was flat. This whole week market was flat for the most part. It started to move downwards, but that was because of news. And same with this right here, sideways. This only here spiked because of the news from this morning, but other than that, it's pretty much been going sideways. So yeah, not really too much there to work with, unfortunately. Yeah, there's just nothing here to really work with, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put your questions in the chat. This really pertains to us as directional traders, right? For me, I'm more of a directional trader. Obviously, you can take sideways entries. I do have strategies for sideways markets like the liquidity sweeps, but for me personally, I just don't really like taking them because they don't fit my criteria very much. Um, yeah, not too much. So if I was to take a sweep today, the sweep would have been down here at the sessions, right? But we never really got that low because my bias here is bullish. So market open right here at 630, and I would have waited for price to dump to this structure down here for me to catch that sweep. But thing is, the price never came down to this London low. So I wouldn't have been able to even take a sweep even if I wanted to. We're just playing it safe, right? I mean, this is trading, guys. And now that my main focus is now in the hedge fund, I'm gonna be even more conservative because the thing with my trading now is that everything is public information. All of my trades are public. Um, that's kind of like the caveat of being registered as a professional trader is that I have to put forth basically my trading history so that I can be vetted, as a legitimate trader. So for me, I'm not really taking anything too risky here because I do have to put forward, like right now I'm registering as a CTA. So if you guys are not familiar with like what I'm doing here, and if you guys are just joining in, I took the Series 3 yesterday. I've been trading for about like 12 years now, 8 years now. I'm taking the next step. So I've started a hedge fund. And this is the test that I took yesterday. So I took the Series 3, which is the National Commodities Futures Examination. This here allows me to register it as a CTA. If you guys are not familiar with the CTA, a CTA is a commodity trading advisor. That means that I'm allowed to give trading advice and charge for it. A lot of the people out there who are charging for trading advice, like people who have Discords or are selling signals or are selling live trading, they're not supposed to do that because you can't sell trading advice without being registered as a professional trader. So that's the next step for me here. And because I'm going to be registered as a professional trader, all of my trading history is public knowledge. So like you can just look me up on the CTA database and you can see all my trades for basically the past 5 years. So that's why now, I mean, I'm pretty conservative as is, but I'm going to be even more conservative because the thing is, if I screw up with my trading, it's going to be documented. And and I don't want that to be on my record, right? My trading track record. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like whenever I take an entry, guys, be sure that or understand that every entry that I'm going to be taking is going to be spot on. Like I'm not taking anything random. I'm not like going to jump into anything based off emotion. All my trades that I'm taking here, and you're probably going to see, well, you probably don't see as many trades already as is, but if you do see a trade that I take, it's going to be something that I really analyze completely because every trade here is going to be pretty much documented as official trades. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's a lot of pressure, but I don't mind it. I actually like it because it's gonna force me to trade a lot better than I have over the years. Zachary's question, Sean, I was trading on a Wanda FTMO, and today when I tried to trade, it doesn't let me. It says only position closing allowed. I don't have any positions open. Any ideas? Yeah, Zachary. So you have to switch to the new contract. If you're trading on FTMO, I had the same problem. I was trying to trade on Sunday and it didn't let me. So you're probably on YMU. If you go over here to your assets, you're probably on YMU. I'm still on YMU right here, but you have to go down to the new one. So see it right here. You're probably trading on YMU, US 30 U 25. You got to be on US 30 Z because we move contracts. We're no longer on the September contract. We're now on the December contract. So that should fix it for you, Zachary. It's kind of annoying because they don't let you know. They don't tell you. On Sunday, I was tripping like the whole day. I was like, why can't I put my positions in? It wouldn't let me place an order. And I just thought about it. I was like, oh, we have to roll over contracts on futures. So maybe we have to roll over contracts on indices as well, which was the case. So I'm currently on the Z contract, which is the December contract, and that's what you'd have to switch to. So guys, just another reminder, I'm not really teaching anymore. So if you guys want to learn these strategies or learn my thought process or learn my tools or any of that stuff, you guys can go to the website. Everything is completely free with regard to the course here because I'm not really teaching anymore. If you guys want to be mentored by me, I'm probably going to mentor maybe one person per month, but my main focus is really going towards the hedge fund. I'm going to be refining my strategies, improving them pretty much every single day versus really teaching. Prior I used to mentor people and I used to do weekly mentoring sessions and stuff like that. But my main focus is really just making profit from actual trading, not from teaching as much. So if you guys want to be mentored by me, just message me. I'm really doing it just by like I'm not doing it on a bigger scale, but I'm still mentoring people maybe like once per month or one person per month. The main focus is really just kind of pushing forward with the hedge fund. So for those of you who are interested in the hedge fund, I don't have details on the new terms yet, but I got to finish my registration with the NFA. If you guys are not familiar with NFA, the NFA is the National Futures Association, and basically they are the self-regulating organization that pretty much covers all of futures trading. It's like the SEC, but for futures trading. So. I'm finalizing my hedge fund with them to make it official. And, once that's up and running, then I can start onboarding new clients for the hedge fund. All right, guys, there's nothing here happening right now. Price is still stuck within this area. It's retesting this imbalance. Price has not mitigated this imbalance yet. It's still sitting there. The problem with this here is that we have imbalances on both sides. So looking at this right now, let me go ahead and take a look over here. So, I mean, there's a new support level right here. It's not a really strong one, but it is a support level nonetheless. All right, here, let me just try to clean this up a little bit. It's super messy here. So we have a support level right here, and we have a resistance level. As you guys can see, there's no movement. Price is kind of just sitting here down the middle. The ATR is currently at 16, so I'm not expecting much movement to happen here. If you guys are looking to take entries, I would say focus on the ATR down here. If the ATR drops below 16, then market's probably going to stay flat. If it goes above 20, then we're probably going to get some more volatility there. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, the exam was pretty tough. If you guys have not taken, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure majority of you guys here haven't taken the uh the financial exams. I think the Series 3 is more difficult than the Series 63. If you guys are familiar with the exams for to get your financial license, the Series 63 is for stocks. It's more general, so you get a lot of like generalized questions. With the Series 3, with the exam that I took yesterday basically to basically like register as a professional futures trader, you have to know a lot of things. So here's like a couple of things, and this is just for those of you who want to take the test at some point in the future. It's a lot of stuff that I don't really need to know um, because I don't really use it. But you have to understand like a lot of different types of strategies. So for example, here I trade directional strategies. With like a spot direction, right? So I take buys and I just kind of ride trades in a direction. When you take the exam, you have to know like option strategy. So you have to understand options trading with futures. You have to understand hedging, basically buying the commodity and then hedging it with futures. And then you also have to understand bonds and you have to understand, there's like so many different topics that like, it's kind of pointless for me because I'm never going to use that stuff. I don't trade stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot of that and a lot of math. So a lot of just scenarios. I know a lot of you guys were trying to ask me because I know some of you also want to take the test, but I would say study pretty hard for it because that test was really difficult. It's 120 questions and you got to finish all of them within 2 hours. And the math problems are pretty intense. They're like They basically just give you a scenario. They would ask you like, you have a client come into your office, they want to invest this much in gold or this much in silver or this much in soybean or something like that. And then you have to calculate like what their profits would be, what the percentage gains would be and stuff like that. I'm probably never going to use it, but um, learned enough to just move forward with the questions. Anyways, guys, there's nothing happening here. You can see price has pretty much been choppy within this range right here for the past hour, basically. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. I can answer whatever questions you guys have. But again, if you guys are new here and you guys want to understand, what these tools are, how I mark up structure, my whole thought process behind everything, just go to the website. The website is kodikaitrades.com. If you guys are on the YouTube, just scroll down to the description. Click on this button here to get access to the free trading course, which covers pretty much everything, all the platforms, the strategies, the tools. Um, so you guys can self-learn because I'm not really teaching anymore. So if you guys want to understand like what I'm doing here on these live sessions, you guys can learn on your own. And if you want to be mentored by me, just reach out. If I have an opening spot for the month, I'll mentor you. If not, then I'll put you on the wait list for the following month. But my main thing here is I'm just going to be refining my strategies pretty much every day now. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing it live because it's going to be pretty proprietary with regard to. Because here's the thing with trading, guys, and cause I'm active on Reddit now, and this is the thing that people always get upset about. They get upset that like they say that people are hiding the ball. I mean, obviously, I'm going to hide the ball. I'm not hiding the ball purposely, but the thing with these strategies here. So, for example, the orb entry, right? A lot of people complain that the orb strategy doesn't work. Of course, it doesn't work if you don't have any confluences or filters, right? For this right here, this is just a basic standalone orb. If you would have taken the orb here, most people would have entered from right here, right? Right at the close. You probably would have gone stopped out. That's why for me, the filters here that make things different from my orb is that I wait for the retest. The other filters that I use here is that I look at overall market structure, right? I try to make sure that I'm trading the direction of overall market structure. So the thing is, a lot of these strategies that other people are applying, yeah, they don't work all the time because you need to apply filters and confluences to improve the probability. But that a lot of that just takes a lot of time and refinement of your strategy, understanding risk, knowing which TP stop loss to use, and your R multiple. So just stuff there to keep in mind, guys. There's nothing here happening again. If you guys are trying to look for some entries, I would say wait until maybe 9 o'clock. The market here is pretty flat. My edge is between 6:30 and 8. Unfortunately, there was no entries for me today, so I haven't taken anything this week so far. Here are my stats for the year so far. So I'm currently well, I'm flat for the week, but these are my current stats for the year so far. Um, I'm still up pretty decent for the year, so I'm not really forcing anything. I'm currently up 660,415 for the year gross. My net is 557,864. I'm currently at a loss right now because I had a couple losses from this week. This is the transparency of trading here. I'm currently on a losing streak, which is not super great. But the thing is, I've taken proper measures here to minimize my risk. So I'm only down a little bit. I'm not down that much. If I have another trade here that wins, so for example, we're currently on this week right now. I have 0 trades. Once I have a win here, it's going to recoup two of the trades, and then if I have another win there, it's going to recoup another two. So I just really need 2 trades to bring my accounts back into profit for this month. So 2 winning trades and we'll be good. If I have another losing trade, it's fine. It's going to be half of a risk. So, just use proper risk management with your trades. The market here has been pretty flat for the past couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to take a lot of good entries or really entries at all. Um, and I'm just waiting for my opportunities here to present themselves. So there's a possible high-low break and retest that just came up right here. Price broke past structure, retested. However, this entry came up after 8 o'clock, so that's past my trading hours. So I'm not looking to get into this position, but if you guys do want to take this is a high-low break and retest to the downside. Overall market structure here isn't very bearish yet, so I'm not really inclined to take any sells at the moment. However, the overall trend here is bearish on the lower time frames. So, all right, guys, I think that might be it for the day. Um, let's see. Question from Ben. Ben is asking, what is the process of opening an FTMO account to take swing trades? So you just got to go on the website. It's FTMO. Here, let me see if I can give you the link somewhere. I think there's a link for it. Here, let me see. Because it's a specific site. I know there's a regular FTMO and then there's the US side. Yeah, so you'd go over here to, I hate how whenever I go to the FTMO side, it kicks me to the US side and then it kicks me back to the yeah, so I'll give you the link right here. I think this link might give you a promo. It gave us a promo a while back, but this here, let's see. Here, Ben. Here's a link for FTMO. Yeah, that affiliate link, it it used to give like $50 off or like something like that. But when you sign up, you can just choose pretty much whatever account you want. Let me see if I can I'm trying to pull up the FTMO website. Like you would just sign up on the website and then okay, yeah, here's the US. There we go. When you sign up with FTMO, so the cool thing, here's the thing though. The problem with this is that you're going to be on a different platform, Ben. So this is going to be it's going to be a learning curve, a really steep learning curve, because you're going to be using MetaTrader, which is not an easy platform to use. Um, so just keep that in mind. If you're going to use this, you're going to be using MetaTrader. You might be even better off trading on your phone versus on the computer because I'm still trying to figure out, and I've been using this for years, how all the buttons here work. You can see this is very old school compared to TradingView. TradingView is very modern compared to MetaTrader 5. But this is the platform you'd have to be trading on. It's the only platform that's available for FTMO. The cool thing with FTMO is that there's no, and the difference is the contract sizing too. So they don't really use contracts here. They use lot sizing. So you'd have to go find a lot size calculator to know which lot size to use. I can help you with that, obviously, but there's going to be a steep learning curve. Just keep that in mind to just use the platform. But the cool thing with this here is that there's basically no rules with regard to holding your trade. I have a 200K count right here. So there's a two-step process. You make 10%, then 5% to pass. It's a two-step versus the one step that they have on Apex. The cool thing here is that your max loss is basically how much your profit target is. So it's nice having to being able to pretty much have, equal risk with your profit target and then also having being able to hold on to your position overnight. So if you want to sign up for it, I mean, feel free, just check out the website. I would say dig deep into it. And I would also recommend probably looking on YouTube. Go to YouTube and then just search up FTMO for explanations of like how it works and stuff like that, because it is very different compared to Apex. It's different in a good way though. It's different in a good way that your fees are refunded. So basically, you pay once, and then once you pass that account, as long as you don't screw it up, you basically get refunded the fee. So you basically do it for free versus Apex, where you have to pay for it and you don't get refunded anything. Um, so just something to look at there. Let me see the other questions here as well. Cern is asking, did you get the short-term interest rate swap calculations? No, I didn't, sir. I guessed on a lot of those. So there's a couple questions like with bonds. It was really difficult because you have to divide everything by the 32nd, and then with options you have to divide it by the 64th. So like I did get some of those questions, Sharon, and I just guessed on a lot of them actually, honestly. Um, Luckily I guessed right, but yeah, I guessed on a lot of those heavy math questions where you have to know the equation, like calculating interest intrinsic value, calculating premiums, calculating time value. There's like so many questions that like it's stuff that I don't typically use for trading because I trade technicals, and I don't really do the calculations because why would we, right? All the calculations are already done for you in the platform. But yeah, you had to do all that stuff manually, which was, I mean, it was tough. Yeah, Stern said, man, hard. Traders don't even know how to calculate bond value markups. The thing is, people don't even know you don't even know how to calculate your TP stop loss. Or the crazy thing is, like, people, if you have trouble calculating your TP stop loss, And the TP stop loss is the easiest way to do it, right? Or your risk, right? So for example, if you're trading 10 contracts and then so you do 10 times $5 per contract and then times whatever your TP stop loss is, right? 40, it'd be 2000. This is super, super simple compared to the calculations you have to do for the test. Like for the test, for example, if you're trying to calculate, the in like an option price here, right? Say the premium for this is like 46,000. So like 46.8, right? So you'd be like 46.8 divided by 32. You'd be at 46 times 25. It's crazy. I mean, the only people who'd understand what we're talking about, sir, are people who actually study for these financial exams. But yeah, the math is crazy. I'm glad I could just forget about it now because I don't have to retake that test ever again. It's the cool thing though, yeah, like with what Stern said is that, quants, like if I want to go into quants, I can do a lot of manual mathematics and then I can pretty much code my strategies into stuff that I actually understand because we understand the logic behind it. Let's see, one last thing from CJ. CJ's asking, wait, will the premium members still be able to trade live with you? Yes, CJ, nothing's changing here. So live trading is not changing. It's really just the mentoring and teaching because I don't have time to really mentor and teach now because I have a lot of other things to focus on with the hedge fund. So everything here is pretty much staying the same. I'm still trading live with you guys pretty much every day. The only difference is that I'm not really going to be mentoring, like we used to do the weekly mentoring sessions. I'm not really going to do that anymore because I just don't have time for it. But live trading is going to stay the same. All right, guys. So if there's anything else here that you guys want me to cover, if you guys are just joining in, there's a couple entries which came up today. We had the momentum breakout hit full TP here for 50 points. That's the first entry which came up on open. Then we had the orb entry here, which hit full TP for 40 points. And then we had a couple of scalps here which came up. We had a sweep which happened up here. I deleted the sweep though, but it did happen from up there. We had a sweep that happened from down here. Another sweep from right here, and then a couple directional moves. MPSV2, high-low break and retest of the imbalances, and then another retest of the imbalance here, which I didn't take. Obviously, it happened after 8 o'clock. But other than that, guys, I think that's about it. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, today is just one of those days where the market was very choppy, not very many opportunities. You had to get in when you had to get in. But if you guys didn't take anything today, it's completely fine. Hopefully tomorrow we do have interest rates coming out. I think the market will be choppy tomorrow. So if you guys are wondering how the market will probably move tomorrow, it's going to be pretty choppy until maybe later in the day because later in the day we have the interest rates, which is going to happen at 11 o'clock. We're expecting 25 basis points cut. So that's kind of what we're expecting there. 25 basis points, but it's going to happen at 11 o'clock. So pre-market, we do have some news. We have housing data. This is probably going to push price around a little bit, not heavily, but a little bit. And then it's probably going to stay flat and choppy until 11 o'clock later in the day. So. All right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap this up for the day, and I will see you guys back here on a market open for tomorrow.